Hi everyone. I'm just checking whether I'm live or not. Okay, I think I'm live right now. 1 second. So can you see my screen? If you can comment on the comment section. Just checking whether I'm live or not. 1 second. Okay, I think I'm live right now. Yes. So sorry. I can see my screen being displayed. So hi everyone, I hope everybody is fine. So first of all, thanks to Unacademy for letting me have this session on how to turn a strategy into success. I guess people are joining, so I'll just wait for 15 seconds so that after that I'll start my presentation. Yeah, I think people have joined. So first of all, good evening everybody and welcome here for the presentation, one of the presentation which I'll be presenting today on turning strategy into success. So first of all, thanks to Unacademy team for having me here, and we did it in a short time. So first of all, what's strategy? Why strategy we are talking about here? Because when I see myself in a hindsight, I think what made a difference in my clearing of the CA exams with flying colors was the strategy which I followed. And I used to compare myself with the past, the present myself with the past. So I have always compared myself how I prepared in my IPCC exams and how I have prepared in my CA final exams, so that I can give you a difference what made the changes. So one of the reason when I gave my IPCC exams, I knew that the time I've given to my paper preparation for the preparation was really very less, which was required or demanded by the CA exams. So by now I think everybody knows around here what CA exams are, what is the level of from CPT to CA final. There has is a big change. So CPT is very used to be easy in respect to IPCC. Then IPCC came in. Then the IPCC course was vast, because when we were in around second year, we thought that IPCC course is very vast. But then when we came into CA final, we came to know that this IPCC was nothing. No exam was like a CA final, because it tests your patience, and that was the key. So what I did from starting was the strategy I followed. So why strategy? So when I tell you about strategy, that was the key role when it that played a difference in my journey of becoming a CA. So that's why the topic came here was the conversion of strategy into success. So to need why you need to have a strategy, because so that you can have a plan. To have a plan, that is very important, because if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a plan, if you have a strategy, then you'll of course go to make a plan to achieve something. And there's two things which you need to be careful about. So you need to have a plan, and then you need to edit the plan going forward, because in start nobody knows what will happen 2 years 3 years down the line. So keep on changing the plans according to your comfort, because nobody can give you what your plan should be. It's always about your plan, and you have to be focused on that, and it always depends on how you want to take it forward. Because I never went to someone to tell me how to prepare for anything, how to have a strategy for something. So very simple thing is to have a plan and to edit the plan. Why I say to edit the plan? Because one of the reason is you will make a plan in the beginning. So let's say you have cleared your IPCC, or you have cleared your 12th, or you have cleared your CA final also. So now to have a next strategy, you need to have a plan. So initially we always had a plan. Like when I cleared IPCC, I had a plan ki I'll go for 6 months, I'll concentrate more on my work, wherever articleship I'm joining. Then I'll go with the studies, because I don't want to give something more important, studies more important in the start, where when the work is more important. So that was there. And to edit the plan, the best example I can give in what happened in my CA final attempt was how there was a change from a new course to old course. So I shifted from old course to new course, looking at only one difference which was very prominent at that time, was removal of ISCA, because that was a theory subject which I knew that I am not good at, because it's completely a mug up of some subject, and you have to just vomit over there in the exams. So that's why I changed from old course to new course. But we didn't know that there will be huge difference that will be impacting us, because there was no course, nothing, no study material related to new course for next 3 months. So at that time we have to edit our plan. So what we did was, my friends, everybody did was, whatever we have done the classes previously, we started revising those in a way that we will take less time in towards the end for the revision. So that's why I say always to edit the plan. And the presentation is very small, so sorry I didn't tell you that. We'll go with the presentation first, and then in the end we can go with the questions. I think I can't see the questions right now, but I'll go through the questions in the end. So please save your questions for that time. Then the best line I can give you here is, an idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. That's what I think. This all thing I've realized after my exams, but that's what I'm saying you in like you should know in start only, that you need to have a strategy for that you need to have a plan. So now when I talk about strategy, so what strategy somebody needs to have? So I'll just go with what strategy you need to have. First is work related strategy. I'm basically focused on right now on CA students only. So work. So what I've seen like with many of the CA students, like people also call me regarding your classes and all those things. But what everybody does is that right now is, when you clear your IPCC and you join your articleship and you start the next day itself the classes of your CA final. I understand the CA final course is huge, but you don't have to give the focus from the beginning itself to the studies, because ultimately you will become a CA, then you have to work only. So initially you cannot give the importance more to studies. There has to be a balance. So I'll always suggest people to not start classes just after you're joining your articleship. You should be comfortable, you should get comfortable with your work, how the work and your life balance will move on, and then go and focus on studies. That will usually after 5 to 6 months from start. And because we have completed our course even after having a gap of 3 months of the new and old course, then also we were able to complete our course. I think even if you start, I guess on an average 2 years is required to complete your course. So from IPCC to your CA final, there are 3 years in between. First 6 months will go in your work to concentrate more on work, and the last 6 months is for your revision time. And that between you get 2 years of your time. Then is studies and knowledge. So I've written studies over here right now, because right now your studies are more also more important. So in this for at the same time I'll say that you should start your studies like let's say 5 to 6 months afterwards. And also there has to be a plan in the sense like what subjects you will want to do first and what subjects can be done at the later stage, that you should be comfortable. And the best subject to start with is the subject which will have least amendments. So that will remove your IDT and DT subjects from the start. So usually the subjects with least amendments would be FR, that is financial reporting, the accounting subject, and the SFM. These are the subjects which usually have the least amendments. If there are addition of new chapters, that you can do, but there won't be any conceptual change in that. So that's the way you should start your classes. And you can go with your self study also, but that is only the way I think you should go with the subject which have least amendments. So you go with the studies first, and you should plan like how many months usually any particular subject will take. So let's say you start from any particular month, like the next 3.5 months will go for let's say SFM. Then what will be your next subject to start? You just need to have a plan of next 6 months. That's fine, because that's the way you will go forward, and you will keep on editing and changing that plan. Next would be your life, because ultimately you should not be only focused on work or studies even when you are in articleship. I think I understand the timing restrictions which you have at that time. You start early in the morning like 6 when the classes start. You end your day by 10 or 11 after working and revising your stuff. But still life is important, that you'll have to have a time for your family, for your other friends, and everybody else also at that time. Also you can, if you are interested in any sports, gymming, or being any other sport or any hobby you want to follow, I think you should follow that. Don't waste time in others in any any unproductive work at this time. I think right now there are a lot of opportunities available. I think you can plan a lot of things during your articleship period also. Now next is, so to conclude this part of my presentation, I'll say one life, live to the fullest. So you will have to work and balance everything out in your life. Now, how to plan for CA. So this is the main topic. I think everybody wants, like, what to do for this. So I will break it down into two simple steps. First is how to complete the course, and next is how to revise it. So this is the important thing. I think I won't put a lot of stuff into a presentation. So just to cover the whole part of it is how to complete the course first. The completion of course will require you to cover the course fully, and just remember that you have to cover the 100% of course. No matter whatever happens, 100% course completion is very important, because ICI can ask questions from anywhere. And now how to complete the course is usually how to do your classes first. That will cover how to complete your classes first, or self-study if you want to do, and how to practice everything else. One second. And how to revise it. Okay, so how to complete a course, that is, I already covered that how you will complete your course in the time you have, like let's say 2 years. And it's not necessary to complete everything before your study leaves, because even we had certain subjects pending for our study leave also. So in last 5 and 6 months also, you can keep two subjects for that particular months also, to start the course and complete at that time also. Now next is thing to how to revise it. So revision again takes a lot of time, like 5.5 months would be a complete revision of your whole subjects. I call it revision because ultimately at the end you won't have much time to go through each and every line. But start for first revision, whenever your study leave started, for the first revision you can go through everything, each line by line. But going forward, everything you will have to cut short into a short part, so that you remember everything, and that's how you have to plan it well. So the last 5 and 6 months, I guess you will have to make a plan. Just 1 month before going for that leaves. And for the start, I think you will have to make a plan. If some subjects are pending, then you'll have to cover those subjects. And if all the other subjects which are done, and how to revise, start revising that. In that, you'll have to make a plan for 2 to 3 months. First revision plan you can make. Then how will you revise this first revision? And going forward, once you complete, you are clearer to the completion of first revision, you can go with your second revision. So keep cutting short the material you cover, but ultimately you will have to remember everything. And best part is how to revise in like first revision, second revision, what to revise. I think in first revision you should have a pen marked for that revision. Let's say a orange color pen is marked for your first revision. So mark all those topics which you think you should revise again in second revision. So that's how you will cut it short, and you will revise only those parts which you think was very important, which you are forgetting, because it's ultimately different for everybody. Don't copy notes of others, because it is ultimately you will read your notes at the 1 day before exam. So you should be comfortable with whatever you are choosing. If you are choosing anybody else note, then from start to end revise through that notes only. So in that way, I was saying that if you use a orange color pen, like let's say in start, and mark all those things you want to cover in second revision. So when you start second revision, you know that these orange color points are to be revised, and then take another pen in the second revision, let's say a red color pen. So that will tell you that what to revise in your next revision. That's the best way, or there can be other ways also. You can highlight the things, you can mark stars or something like that, so that you will cut it short, and ultimately it will happen that in the end you will have covered everything, but you have covered the most important points which you were forgetting, or which you think that were important, were asked by ICI in different level of papers. So to cover those. So that's how you will plan, and I'm not going more in detail like what subjects to revise first and all those things, because I've already uploaded or I have spoken about that kind of thing in my previous videos. I won't waste much of time on my presentation over here, and I will take directly the questions. Now, last is, I'll say that to cover this part of my presentation slide, no excuse should be made by you, because guess what? Nobody cares. I'm telling you the truth. Nobody cares about your excuses. If you're not clear, you say that I got less marks in my this particular subject. Whatever the case may be, the people don't listen to you guys. I think that's the important thing which I have also learned in my journey of from like becoming a CA and post that also. Nobody cares because nobody has time for that. Only your family will care for that. So with this, I will end my presentation. That was a short presentation, and we'll move forward to taking the questions. I think there's a I'll start taking questions. One second. So now you can put your question so that the question comes on the top. I can't scroll back above. Yeah, so I'm answering questions from chat. Somebody's commented over there. How to study theory subjects and how to remember it. I think for any theory subjects, for any subject, like in any subject in finals or in IPCC, I think you have to understand the concepts. So mugging up was till your 12th standard or something like that, because going forward in the competitive exams which you have, you cannot mug up everything. You will have to understand things and write things in your own language. I think nobody looks for writing a language which is given in a law or kind of those, like nobody wants you to code the entire section. If you can code the entire section, then anybody can pick up the law book and read it. You have to explain it. So there are ways how to write an answer in audit and law papers. So and like any question comes up, you have to explain what is the provision which says whatever the provision says, how it applies to this question, and what is your conclusion out of it. Nobody is usually looking for the entire law kind of language, because that is not your job. That is the lawyer's job to write the law language and all those things. I think that's what, even from start, your focus should be on clearing the concepts so that it's very clear in your mind and you don't have to look at different questions. You just need to be clear on the concept. So any question can be asked and you can answer that. So next question is CA final में somebody is asking गोवा का plan करना चाहिए. No, not right now. I think this would be one of my friend only. Somebody asking question for this November attempt, like if not prepared group 1 completely like 100%, then should I give or not? I think for group wise recommendation, I'll say that it's always better to give both the groups together. One of the reason is that you get a set off. And why I'm saying this, because in IPCC I've got a set off of from the first group, which was more of practical based, from the theory subjects in the next. So I got 40 I guess in ISCA and all those subjects, those theory subjects, and that was set off by my practical subjects, which I secured I secured more than 60 marks. So that's the reason why both the groups are given, and this is the one reason. And also if you are aiming for securing a rank, and that happens only if you give both the groups together. And if you are not prepared, like if nothing, I think if you're not prepared, like you from start only you have planned that you want to give group 1 first and group 2 after, kind of that sort of thing, then I think you should go with your group things only, because you won't be able to give justice to one group then. So for theory papers, you had made handwritten notes. So it's not compulsory. Whatever topics I thought is very important for me to write and memorize it, or kind of those things, then only I have handwritten notes. It's not necessary. I always used to write anything which in the classes, whatever book I used to get, I used to write in the side or use a sticky paper or something like that to remember any important stuff which is there. It's not necessary to have a handwritten notes. But it's always necessary for like practical subjects, the like the formulas or everything you want to have, that you can have written anywhere, but that depends upon you. Somebody has commented for direct tax, I guess, to strategy for covering entire syllabus briefly. So for inter or CA final, direct tax was always a very vast subject. I think what you need to be prepared from early on is that you need to identify those topics which are usually asked in the papers, and that you will know when you do RTPs and mocks and all those question papers. That time you will realize that these are the particular questions, like PGBP is the very most important for even for IPCC and for CA final also. So these are the topics which you should cover first and give more importance and more practice to it, so that you will able to cover the entire part of the syllabus. Like if your 100 marks, always 20-25% would be asked from PGBP, so you need to be focused that PGBP should be done first and should be done in a proper way. So in that way, I guess you should plan for your direct tax or indirect tax kind of subjects also. So whether to opt out or not, I'm not aware about the news of opt out and not, so I can't comment right now on that. So don't call me sir. Making timetable is so easy, but how to complete that, like how to follow it? I think that's what I told in the start only. You need to have a plan, and you need to edit the plan if it's not going as per your, like, because in start you'll make a timetable which is very harsh on you, which you know that you won't be able to do, but you put it on your timetable so that you push yourself. I think that's great to start with, but ultimately you will have to have a timetable which you know that you can complete, because ultimately you need to know that how much you can complete. That is upon you, and you know about yourself. So I think according to that, make a plan, and you will have to complete. The one thing is always, like I used to make a plan for 15 days. I know that I have kept for certain days a lot of stuff to be covered, but what I always had a mind that 2-3 days extra I can give from 15 days, so that it can balance it out. But usually I always used to push myself and complete whatever was given, even if it's 2 or 3 in night. Even I have to give extra time for that, but I'll always try to complete that so that my other subjects are not affected. And usually if it happens that certain topics, like 95% course is done in your first revision of any particular subject and 5% is remaining, and that's not more important, so I'll cover it fast, so that in next revision when I start, that 5% would be coming first, and then the 95% which I did earlier properly. So in that way you can also plan. Which elective paper to choose? I think I always used to say, because in our time we chose papers which was related and which we were more comfortable with it. I guess going forward, people will like in the employment, they will look at what is your special. They will consider the selective subject as your specialization or as your interest. So I think it's better to take whichever subjects you are more interested in, because ultimately these subjects are linked to a particular subject and linked to or kind of related to the subjects which you have already studied. Like for us, international taxation was related to direct taxation. For law, it is economic laws, it is somewhat related. For SFM, there is another subject like which is related. And if you want to go for a specialization in these particular subjects, so if initially also focus on taking that particular subject only. And there is no hard and fast rule. During our time, it was not a hard and fast rule that if you want to do a specialization in this, then take this. But I think going forward, there can be a shift of people, of the employer, realizing that there is a specialization course which usually the students take, and they might take that into consideration also. So somebody is asking, during revision time in a day comes across which you not study, 1-2 दिन, 1-2 दिन वेस्ट हो जाते हैं, उसकी वजह से कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं बन पाती. आई थिंक देयर हैज़ बीन अ टाइम वेयर whatever I have planned that has not gone according to it, because you might feel frustrated or anything can happen. I think at that time you should not leave completely that I won't study for this particular day. Whatever you can, you should do, and try to calm yourself, and like you can go out for a walk, go for a gymming or something to calm your mind, but don't like that I won't study for 1 or 2 days because I don't feel like it. Because ultimately if you don't study for that 1-2 days, always remember that there's another person who is working more harder than you. Then now you decide whether you want to give up now or not. And I think for November 20 students, usually it would be very frustrating that exams has been postponed again and again. keep calm. I guess now I think if, like now the exams are happening for the final, like no, there's no change. So go for it and don't think that how much hard work you have given. That you will realize when your results come. I guess that time you will realize. Would you suggest to do CFA along with CA or do after CA? I think there's no hard and fast rule yet that you should do CFA now, post or never. I think I never did CFA prior to my CA finals because one of the reason was we didn't have time that time because of the course change and all those things, and I didn't wanted to focus more on that. And now I have realized that a lot of students just after clearing your IPCC, they enroll for your CFA level 1 also. I think level 1 and level 2, I guess if you can manage when your articleship time and you have a liking towards the markets and all those stock markets, money markets, debt markets, and then only if you like that particular subject, then only go for that. Don't just follow the herd mentality that he is taking, then I'm also taking. Don't follow that. If you don't like it, you won't be able to do a justice to whatever else you want to do. So that's the way, and I've done CFA level 1 only, and that was after my CA. So there was not no requirement yet I've seen in my job or any applications I have made where CFA was given importance. In future there can be importance, there cannot be importance, which I cannot comment right now, but it is not compulsory to give CFA or something like that or any other course other than CA. So somebody is asking how much hours is sufficient for studies. There's no hard and fast rule for that. You should know about yourself how much time you usually take because you are studying any subject from long time, any particular thing from long time, and you know yourself okay, this particular subject will take you a lot of time to remember or to understand this particular concept. It will take time, so you have to understand yourself first and then accordingly give time, because I've heard that people have given 10 hours of study and secured a rank. I've given 15 to 16 hours of studies and secured a rank. So there is no hard and fast rule. You just have to understand yourself and how well you are able to learn all the particular topics and concepts. That is more important. I think concept clarity is always more important than the number of hours you give. Uh, so what is this? So somebody is asking how many months are dedicated study required to crack CA final with good marks. I think again there's no hard and fast rule for that also, but I think 5 months are enough. 5 to 5.5 months are enough for your CA finals if you have completed all your classes or something like that. That is enough. And I also with that I'm also saying that there have been cases where people have given like 3 months, which is compulsory, which is usually the time period which industrial trainees used to get for clearing the CA finals, and they have given. And so when you know from start only that this would be the amount of leaves you'll be getting, you'll be prepared according to that. Because I knew that I'll be getting 5.5 months leave because one of half month was taken extra for that that training which you have to do before your CA final. So that was my timing, which I knew that I'll get that, and accordingly I'll complete my course. So, and the people who are in industrial training, they know from 1 year before only that they will get only 3 months of leave. So they prepare accordingly and they are able to clear that time also, and also with rank. So there's no hard and fast rule for again this the timing you need. I guess 5 months are enough for you to complete the whole course. I guess 3 to 4 revisions are would be enough, and would be you will be able to complete in that 5 6 months. So somebody is asking, did you feel that you don't remember during exam days also? I think that happens till third revision. After first revision you complete. I think my case was the same, like I've seen with other people also, that you were completely blank even after your first revision, because ultimately things won't come. But when you put pressure on your mind and try to remember things, then you'll start realizing, start remembering all those things. I think that's what the revision is for. That's why people say that the number of revisions you complete, the more the more are the chances for you to clear the exams, because ultimately you have to go on things again and again. That's the way that will settle in your mind and you won't forget those things. That's why people say that